There are 6 assumptions of andragogy that are going to guide the lesson which we'll be teaching moving forward. These 6 assumptions are the need to know, the learner's self-concept, the role of the learner's experience, learner's readiness to learn, the orientation to learning, and the motivation to learn. The first assumption of andragogy is that the adult learner must feel they need to know what is being taught. When teaching adults, the instructor must be sure to give a reason why what is being taught is useful. By useful, the intent in this case is to make sure that they see something that will help them in their personal or professional lives. Adult learners will spend the time to decide whether the things that are being taught are worth their energy to pursue. In my storyboard, I made sure to give an explanation of why the use of video recording can be useful to teachers as a tool if they are unable to be present at school, as it will allow for learning to continue and the teacher not to lose time. My hope is this explanation will be sufficient for the audience to feel that this is something useful to know. The second assumption of andragogy is that adult learners must feel they are being self-directed in their learning. It is also important that adult learners do not feel they are being forced into doing something. This can create difficulties because adult learners often expect to be passive learners because of their previous experiences in education. This means that any part of adult education must work to getting adults to overcome their previous educational experiences and the expectations they have from those. In the storyboard, I made sure to suggest that learners immediately use what they had learned to create a video on a topic of their own choosing. I would say that since my audience is teachers, I'm not sure that this makes this process harder or easier, as often teachers have very specific expectations about what education should be and likely what they will be like as adult learners. The third assumption of andragogy is that adults have a wealth of varied and useful experiences that can be used to contribute to the education process, that they want to have that experience valued. Because the background of adult learners is so diverse, the education process must be more individually tailored. This experience can make the adult learner more set in their ways and resistant to whatever change learning experience might be advocating for. This is a very acute problem for my audience of teachers. Many of them have been teaching for years and have been very good teachers without using the technology I'm suggesting. Therefore, much of the explanation I will give will not be about how to improve their teaching, though it might improve their teaching, and mostly be focused on how it will make their teaching lives easier. I will also be sure to give them an opportunity to suggest other ways to use the ideas I'm presenting about recording videos for others for their own uses in education. The fourth assumption of andragogy is that adult learners will only be ready to learn if they see the value of what is being taught in relation to their professional or personal lives. This is a problem I've often seen in teacher education, and that often teachers come into adult learning situations not ready to learn because their assumption is that they don't need whatever they're about to learn because they've been teaching for years without it. This is why in my project it's important to lead with why what I'm teaching can be useful instead of focusing on improvement of their teaching. The explanation I will give will focus on making their lives as teachers easier instead of focusing on improving their teaching. I feel focusing on how to make their lives easier will make them more receptive to what I'm trying to teach them. The fifth assumption of andragogy is that instead of being oriented to a specific subject, adult learners need to have their learning focused on real-life situations. So the focus of adult education should be on solutions to problems that the learners will experience in their everyday lives. In my storyboard, I will accomplish this with an introduction that will present a problem: having a family member sick, having an appointment, or being sick themselves, and those things causing my audience to miss school. For many teachers, missing school is stressful because they'll lose teaching time, potentially messing up their schedule, and create the need to come up with something that they do not need to be present there for. Then once the problem has been presented, Hopefully the audience will be receptive to the solution I offer. Hopefully presenting this real problem for teachers will let them focus on learning on a real life situation. The sixth assumption is that adults can be motivated by both external and internal motivations. However, internal motivations are the more important motivations for adult learners. For example, improving job satisfaction can be a great motivation for adult learners. I'll try to take advantage of this in my storyboard by presenting ideas of using videos for situations when the teacher is not present, and then closing by attempting to get them to see other uses for the concepts I went through. This will hopefully get them to see the usefulness and see how the concepts can improve their professional lives and improve their job satisfaction.